Well, that ended early. I pressed the wrong button. Let me change back to studio mode. What I was trying to do, if this is going to work, I was trying to add the introduction to the Jaws build to this, but I stopped the stream early. So sorry about that, but I've managed it now. If it works, we'll have to see. Oh, it is legend, Nicholas Garrett. And well done, Lou. I thought that was obscure. I didn't think anyone would get that, I have to say. Here's an interesting fact which will make you watch Legend more than once now, that Tom Cruise's armour in Legend is actually made from the pressed caps of beer bottles. So you like your Budweiser, you get the cap off, you flatten it, you paint it gold, and then you just put little holes and link them all together. When you look at the close-ups, you can just clearly see they're all just beer bottle lids all over him. So all good. And hello, Christian from Grantham.
Let's give it up big time. Hello, Christian from Grantham. Now let's get cracking.
Yes, David, I'm wearing a pinny tonight because, believe it or not, tonight, let me turn back onto normal mode. There we go. Tonight, I'm going to be doing a lot of messy work. Look, I haven't even got my wedding rings or anything on tonight. As you see, the man cave has been changed. Oh, I'm breaking my... oh, what did I just break? Oh, the roof's come off. I'll show you all of this stuff in a minute, but I've put plastic down. I've got an old cutting mat here because I'm going to be doing a lot of work with clay, and I've got latex gloves here, so everything's going. Look, while I've got this screen up, let me just change back to the head cam, because tonight what we're going to be working on is and I know that Phil's in chat, so hi Phil, over at Sprueverse. Now Phil, in his last video, if you haven't seen it, go over to the Sprueverse channel. He was doing the resin tests. I'm going to be doing my resin tests next week. So that's all lined up for that. But I will show you where I am with the shark, why I've made some decisions. You'll also see I've got this lovely glass fish tank here, which is what's going to house it all. This is 32 centimetres by 32 centimetres. The actual diorama is only going to come up to about here though. This space here is going to be full of this light, which I've got here, which is going to make a sea effect. I can make this light blue or green, and it is Bluetooth as well, so I can actually start streaming the Jaws music to it, which I would demonstrate to you, but I can't because I'll get copyright flagged if I do the Jaws music. What I did realise in the test that I did do, that if whether it's blue or green, it also needs a white static light in it as well, just to give it a little bit of light. So to that end, I'm going to get myself one of these book lights, which has got about 4 LEDs in it. I'm going to mount it to the underside of the base here, and it will light it up. But if anyone hasn't seen my social media, a penny is slang for apron. Oh, thank you, David. What I've done is I've done a quick video of what it looks like with that light in. So let me show you that now. There we go. Looks just like that. I think I'm talking. So that gives you an idea of what everything's looking like. Now tonight what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on the seabed. So for that reason, I've already pre-cut myself a 31 centimetre square of foam. How does foam react with resin? Already checked, absolutely fine. And to be honest with you, the resin's never going to come into contact with this because we're going to be covering it in clay. Now I've got air dry clay, which I'm going to be using. So we're going to be rolling that out like we're making some sort of short crust pie or something. Then I've got some natural sand. The sand that I've got is for Komodo dragons. And it looks like this. It's white, but it's extremely fine. I didn't want large grain sand because obviously it's the diorama is going to be to scale, and if you have large grain sand in there, I don't know how it's going to look. But what I'm intending to do tonight is to have a seabed sort of effect. So we're going to have these ripples in the seabed, and for that I've got a rolling pin. I've been raiding Mrs. Welderwayne's fridge and I've got one of these bendable rulers which I'm going to use as a template to keep pushing into the clay, whether that works or not. Let's show you where I am with the shark. This is Hooper, looking like that. He has got a dagger blade in there. just so you know, we've had to fabricate the blade and the knife. Both me and Phil have had to do our own little bit on that. What I've done with that is I used a little bit of the metal that I had from my DC3 build, aluminium metal, and that's actually put in with resin. So that's going nowhere. I didn't want it floating in the tank all by itself, so I've made this rigging at the top there, which pretty much mimics the film, that it's connected on 2 points of the top of the cage here along a wooden beam to 1 point here, and it's this point that I'm actually going to hold it at the top of the aquarium when I'm putting it into the resin. But that is Hooper. Took me forever to paint. The only detail that you're going to notice, which is a detail, is that he's holding a knife in his hand, and if you look carefully, he's also got a knife strapped to his leg. I forgot to get rid of the knife on the leg, but it is what it is now, so I'm naturally assuming that Hooper was very scared, so he decided to take 2 knives down there with him. So that's Hooper. Now the shark looks like this. He won't be on the stand. The stand will be lost, but that's what the shark looks like. There's all in his mouth. I put a God knows how many different kinds of grey are on this. I did try and texture it, but I realised that we've got a problem, and I don't know, Phil, if you've encountered the same problem of this as well. But when this is in resin or water or whatever medium we put it in, all these colours are going to dull down. So I did a quick test with my X-Wing cubes to see what sort of colours it's going to come out here, and it dulls it down considerably. With the light on it, it's even more so. So what I've done is I've made these blood colours and all of that a little bit more vibrant, so they look more red than they actually are, hoping that it's going to dull down a little bit more when the resin actually goes on it. But that is young Jaws. That's what he looks like from underneath. As you can see, he's got all the colouring, and that's ready to go as well. So now the way I've got this diorama, stand by while I put that back. Oh, and I've got a little the harpoony hose thing. I've made that as well, just fabricated with some wood with a pin in the top and just painted that up. And I've also bought something to go in there, just some fake coral here, which looks just like that. Now I'm just looking at that. I think the problem I'm going to have with this is I'm going to have to fill it with resin first, just at that side there, to the level of the first hole, because what will happen is when I fill it with resin, it's going to trap air in there, and they're going to get big bubbles come out the side. So I will be pouring resin into there up to the first hole, so then when I fill it, we shouldn't get that effect. But that is the coral that I'm using. And then the last thing we've got here is a massive pot of fibre reinforced air drying modelling clay. So what I'm going to do, let me change the camera back, is I'm going to, if it works, roll the clay like a big pancake, put it over the foam, cut it, mould it into the sides. I don't really want anything on the sides because I'm going to glue sand to the sides. So if we see foam around the sides, not a big problem at all. Make the little ripple effects in it with this. Spray it with some glue. This glue is basic standard sort of like model railway diorama. You'll know the same sort of if you've ever done this. It's basically PVA glue mixed with water, mixed with a tiny part of washing up liquid, so it soaks through the sand and stuff. And I've nicked my coffee shaker here, which is this, which has got that sand in, so I can actually just sprinkle it on. So there you go. But yep, lipstick on the shark. That's the reason I've done that, Mr. RoboVision, because you're not going to see it that red under the thing, so we'll have to see. If you foul, you could always mount the shark in Mrs. Rhoda Wayne's doll's house roof like the house in Oxford. Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Pack the coral with the clay, it'll be cheaper. Well, I could do, couldn't I, Lou? That's quite a good idea. I mean, it's not going in yet anyway. I will be pressing this into the clay to make a mould of where it's going, but it's you know, it's got some cavities that need filling in there, but I do want to keep these whole sort of things in here. I like that effect. So now I thank you, Howard. Here's towards the resin. How big of a tank are you both using for the resin? Well, I'm going to probably be mixing enough to make a 1 centimetre go every time, so I'm going to be doing it over. A quick thing about resin, because I've been in touch with someone. Did you know there's no difference between any resin you buy on the market? No difference at all, except the chemical composition for curing. So you've got your normal resin, which cures quite fast and it heats up quite a lot, so you can't do deep pours on it. Then you've got the 3D or deep pour resins, exactly the same resin, but the chemical process goes over a longer period of time, so that you need to do it a lot slower, but you can pour lots deeper sort of resin, if you like. So I'm not sure what resin I'm using yet, but I do know that there's a 3-week lead time on the resin. If I want the quantities that I want, I'm getting 25 kilograms of resin, but there's only like a 2-day lead time on the little 1 kilogram bottles, which I'm going to use to do my testing. So you could put lipstick on a shark, but it's still a shark. Damn straight. Why not turn it into Sharknado? I should do, shouldn't I? So Wayne, when you fill the resin, use a hoover to pull a vacuum on the tank, and it will pull any trapped air out. That's a good idea, Andrew. It means sealing the top though, wouldn't it? Because I do have a lid for the top, but I won't be using it. I'm making my own top. This is basically going to be sitting around about there in the tank. And then what's going to happen, this whole area of the tank here is going to be blacked out. I'm going to have the Jaws logo on the side here, and then the top here is going to be holding this and the white light that I've got in there. So, well, that's the theory anyway. I do have a little creme brulee torch, RoboVision. I do have a hairdryer as well. So I'm hoping not to get too many bubbles. But I said, Phil's experienced doing the stir and stuff. I haven't done that yet. So, I mean, that's something that I'm going to be doing. Yours requires 12 gallons poured over 4 days. It's going to be a little bit like that, I think, isn't it? It's definitely every 4 hours. And I do want to do a centimetre at a time. But once I've worked out the weight of what 1 centimetre is, then obviously I'll just keep mixing up the same weight every 4 hours and pouring that in. But you know, it's just going to be such a shame that we've done all this work. We've got the tank, we've done the painting, we've done everything to it fail at the resin stage. But we did notice at the start of the build that it could go all wrong. We'll have to see. Make sure anything containing water has dried completely before you embed it in resin, otherwise it will cause clouding in or bubbles. Raymond, I don't think anything is going to be attached. This has never been water. Nothing's ever going near water. We need to fear for weird signs. That's why I'm wearing my Breaking Bad Los Polos pinny here. I do have a hairdryer. I've got a hairdryer because Mrs. Welder Wayne's got a hairdryer. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. It will be like having a baby again. The what's the other thing? Oh yeah, once it's done and the sand is sealed, I'm sealing the sand with PVA. Once it's done and I've put the coral on, then I'm going to be getting the resin and I'm going to be brushing the resin over the whole base. The whole base is going to be covered in resin before it even goes in the tank. So when I'm pouring it, I don't have to worry about any bubbles or anything coming from the base because it's already going to be encased in resin. The only thing I have to worry about is everything that's going in there. But that's going to be done soon, and I'll probably have to do that over a time lapse because as Phil from Sprueverse says, that's going to take a little while. But before we get started, I want to just quickly jump onto God, is this going to work? The maps. There we go. Look, we've got the map up because we do have a merch on the map tonight. And as you know, I'm in. Well, I'm lost. I'm in. Nothing's working. Where's my map gone? Stand by. Okay, I'm in Corby, which is here, and we don't have to go far. I'm taking a wild guess, Patrick Doy, that you're in Cambridge here and not in another country. I'm hoping that's where you are. Patrick Doy has bought one of the you're going to need a bigger shelf t-shirts. So thank you for that. That's absolutely excellent, which brings me right on to the point that this one here, if I move my microphone, as you can see, I've got paint on. Hence why I've only worn it once and I've already smothered it in paint. Hence why I've made a paint shirt for the in my store, bit.ly/Wayne store, so you can actually paint with a paint shirt on, and the more mesh you get on it, the better it's going to look. And obviously all copyright on that shirt for all the paint is now mine. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to get started on this with the clay. I've never done anything. I don't claim to be professional or anything. This is completely new to me, hence why I've kitted the whole man cave out with everything we need. I've never even worked with this clay. So I think the first thing is, you know, getting ready for a murder is to put these gloves on. And we'll get around to it. I feel like a doctor now. Chris Chris Hurst, are you in here? You'll be no stranger to doing this, hey. This is going to be fun. Okay, so I'll try and catch chat when I can, but you ought to cover the play. Do you reckon, Gary? I probably will. I've got it in spray, so it's ready to go. But my priority at the moment is to roll the clay out, which I think is going to be a hard thing because this clay is quite sticky. So I have got some flour, but well, we'll see. We will see. Right, okay, so we're on this camera here. Let me just move. This is the top of the shark cage, by the way. I haven't glued it in yet. So let's get this open. Now, I have used this before on the ET build, and I do have some tools in here for cutting and stuff. So there's a stick in here for some reason, and it's some messy stuff, but I need quite a fair chunk of it. So let's get out as much as I can. It's got to cover that full area. Now, you would think that we've got quite a lot of work time with this, but in theory, when I did the ET build, it did go off quite quickly. So if I am rushing, yeah, I look like a proctologist at Riptide. Okay, a bit more. Bit more. Bit more. The Fanny Craddock of model building. That's it, innit? Perhaps I should make I should make Welder Wayne pinnies. Okay, this is quite a lot. It's quite manipulatable at the moment, but I'm worried that it's not going to stick to this. We will see. But it is like it's like making cakes when I was a kid. So you used to do this. Oh, it's not too bad actually. It's rolling okay. We will it's sticking to the mat. Perhaps I should have put some flour down first. I will do that. See, I'm baking a cake. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. So this bit's not too bad. That's better. Look, it's not sticking so bad now. Now, I want this to be quite uneven, to be honest with you, but there's nowhere near what I need at the moment. I think we need a lot more. We are. Let's go get lots more out. See, I told you I don't know what I've Mrs. Welder Wayne, I'm using up your entire supply of clay. But as Lou said, it's far easier to and cheaper to use clay than the resin, that's for sure. Oh god, this stuff is like so weird. Okay, here we go again. I'm not worried about any lines, marks, anything like that in it, because obviously it's going to be covered by sand eventually. But I am worried about it sticking like this. I just want to get it roughly to the size I need it, then I'll be able to put it on the foam. It is quite a wet sort of clay, that's for sure. Can you hear that noise? Obviously this is going to be the seabed. Right, I think pretty much where I want to be with this. So I can't have it too thin because I'm not going to be able to pick it up, you see. It's like a pancake at the moment. Right, let's see how far we've got to go on this. Can always add stuff afterwards. But let's keep rolling. There we go. What? Me Alexa's just decided to start chatting. Alexa, stop. Don't know what that was all about. Now the sides, I'm going to be doing them later and just putting sand on the sides. I'm not too worried about that at the moment. What I want to do is get this as pretty much a bed here. Now this sand, this clay, as you see, it does mould in quite well. I have used this before, so I kind of know what to expect with it. I want it kind of thick because I'm going to be pressing into it soon. Almost there. You know what's going to be funny? After this stream tonight, I've got to clean this mess up, including all the clay that's actually stuck on this here. Right, we're okay on this side, so let's cut that off. Oh, wonderful. Massive bit here. This is the bit that I was dreading, to be honest with you, but it hasn't gone too bad, so I'm not too worried about that. I did mention to a friend today, I don't know why I choose to do these things on a Tuesday. It seems like Tuesday's a stream that I pick to experiment with things that are just bound to go wrong. So we will have to see. Okay. So we are pretty much there. I'll cut the sides again in a minute. Smooth out these bits here. We now have a seabed. Just going to cut this tight now to the foam. So I have got some spare if I need it. I've got it all ready to go here. I'm sorry I'm a little bit quiet. I'm having to concentrate on this bit. Just having a look at your camera. I've got a, oh, I couldn't see that there. I'm glad this is on camera. I couldn't actually see that indent there. Oh crap, I need to scroll down. Okay. Stand by. I can't see messages because it stopped working, but I've just got my mouse completely wet with clay. See, now all of this here on the side, just so you know, is going to be the sand will be stuck to the side of it. But this is where I get to see how this is going to look. So this I already know is going to be going this way round, and it's going to be around about there on the mould. So I'm going to push that down. It's not staying there, but just enough so I can see where this is actually going. And then I might have to do this with my hands, but I think I'll start with this section here and push this in. Let me just have a look how that looks. I think this is going to work. I think. We'll see. Now I want the ridges to be right next to each other. I don't think I'm going to be able to use this. Let me just have a look again. I think I'm going to be better off doing this manually. I will try. Yeah, I'm going to do this manually. I think it's going to be easier that way. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create ridge lines by following the ridge line next to it. Just like that. Yeah, manually was the way to go. But I want to make sure that I have got a tight ridge between them. Do the next one. 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 The next one Excellent. Why do I do these things on live stream? I don't know. Hello, James Trotter. How's it going? Don't worry about the rolling pin. Mrs. Welderwayne, you told me I could use this one. So I raided the kitchen and this is what I found. So, you know, if I'm not meant to be using this one, that's on you. Okay. Can you get the idea of what I'm doing now? Creating the ripple effect. It doesn't have to be perfect, this ripple effect. It does look quite uniform on a seabed, but there are deviations of it. So I cannot believe how much mess I've made. I think I'll just press that one down. I want to make sure they're all defined here. Don't really have to continue that on that side. Because this is where, whoops, let's fill that back in. 1 second, you're not going to see this bit because this is where the rock's going. But Lou, I did like that idea. I didn't even think about that, filling that with clay, you know. Will you smooth it out with a damp sponge, Ian? That's why I have this here. So it doesn't really need too much smoothing though, Ian, because all of this is going to be encased in sand. So you're not really going to see it. Look, I'm changing fingers. I'm getting professional now. To say I didn't know what I was doing, and this I don't think this is too bad for a first effort. I've never done anything like this, and you know, Phil, if you're watching this, I appreciate the opportunity to do these challenges, because this is I am so far out my comfort zone, it's unbelievable. I guess that's what all this is about really though, isn't it? So okay. It's funny, you can see this is starting to go off there. Cool. Remember my OCD. The sand will fill in the small irregularities. Yeah, it should do. It's a very fine sand, Lou, so I'm hoping it will. I don't know whether I do want to put a... I mean, it's going to soak down anyway, so I don't think it's going to matter. But as Gary Koza suggested... where's Morph? God, do you remember Morph on Take Heart and Heartbeat? Wow. Morph and Chaz, wasn't it? If you were watching in the USA, I don't know if you remember, in the 80s we had a show here with Tony Hart. And it had these Morph, or these plasticine puppets, called Morph and Chaz. I think that looks okay. I think these ridge lines need to be a bit thinner. But that's not a bad effect, is it? I will smooth it out a little bit more. I'm just looking on the camera because what I see is different from what you see. So there you go. Get that round there. Getting there. Wayne killed Chaz. Who's Chaz? God, I used to love Heartbeat. I used to. I did submit a couple of things to the gallery, but it never got mentioned. So yeah, that was right round the right way. So I'm just going to put this in again to where this is going to go. I want to keep this bit flat, you see. Perhaps a bit more. Excellent. This doesn't matter about the sand building up around the side there. I am going to be sanding in that, just so you know. But turn it around again. Just get these ridges. Now the only other thing I need to do is that I only had a very, very small amount of room around the edges here, so I'm making sure that I've cut these edges flat. They need to be cut flat, and I said I'll put the sand in for that afterwards. Just want to get these pieces off. That side's okay. It is worth noticing this is actually quite heavy. So, oh, actually, stand by. Stand by. It's impossible to actually change it when you've got thing all over that. Mrs. World Away, and I don't know how we achieved that. I don't know if it's the peer pressure from the community, has said that I can have this in the lounge. So I might not be able to have an enterprise ship, but I can have this. So Phil's going to sponsor the new studio. I think this is something that I have never done before, but this is heavy. So I mean, I think you're looking at just shy of £1, I reckon. Just shy of £1. So it's a shame I didn't bring scales. But there we go. So we've got that. Pretty happy with how that looks. Now this is quite a sticky substance anyway, so I don't know if I spray this, just put a bit of water on there and just see what sort of effect I get with that. You don't want to put too much water in there. No, I think I like the ruggedness of it. That looks pretty cool. So I don't know if I should be spraying this directly on the cage, on the clay. What do you reckon? I mean, as it's dry, it's going to stick the sand anyway. When I put the sand on and spray this on, it's going to soak through the sand and touch the clay anyway. So, I don't know. Did you consider plaster of Paris? Yeah, I did actually, Phil. But it's working with it, the mould. I wanted to create those ridge lines. And with plaster of Paris, you can get the stuff that actually moulds, can't you? So you can actually use it like a bit what I used on the ET spaceship there. But I had this to hand and I never have a use for it. So as a matter of fact, I think I can put the spare back in here. There's not much left now, mind you. So, but this stuff's invaluable. But apparently it's Mrs. World Away who got me onto it, because her school uses it all the time. And it's a good stuff to work with, I have to say. Sand first, then spray. Yeah, I agree, Luke. It's probably going to soak in anyway. Right, this stuff comes out quite fine, but it is in my coffee shaker, so I need to clean this afterwards, otherwise I can't have any chocolate on top of my coffee. But a few hermit gloves. Try a separate piece first. You reckon I should? You know what, Chris, that's not too bad an idea actually, so let's do a quick test before I go on that. This is where my OCD comes in. I'm seeing bits now that I want to play with. I don't want to let it dry too much, but I am going to take your advice. A pink foam, the clay after resin, you'll need to hire the UK's strongest man. Yeah, no, definitely. The reason I'm using clay, just so you know, apart from the fact that, you know, Mrs. World Away had it to hand, was Luke Towan. Luke Towan on his channel. A lot of his dioramas have been using air dry clay. He uses Mod Podge as well for a lot of things, but I saw that with Luke. Right, let's channel this back. Right, so, oops. Let's do that again. See how sticky this is? Just gonna put some more sand. You see why I'm using an old cutting mat now, don't you? So if that is my little base there, so I'll just roll a little bit. This is what the sand looks like, and I've put it in here so I can actually do it quite gently. So it will look kind of like that. I don't want to touch it, I don't think, because it's going to lose the effect. And then I've got this spray on here which makes it look wet, but when it dries it's going to go back to that white colour that you saw a second ago. So I think that's going to be fine. I think that's going to work a treat. So I will pick this up. it has become a little bit more easier to manage, I have to say. Let's go back to that camera. And yeah, it's going to look pretty cool when that's done. Can't believe this is working, to be honest with you, but I'm in such a blooming mess, and I have got it all covered down me already, so I'm glad I'm wearing old stuff. It's air dry Ronin blade. It doesn't need cooking, and as a matter of fact, it has to dry gradually anyway, because if you were to put it in the oven, it will crack big time. So if all subscribers put £1 in the workshop fund, Wayne would have the best workshop with 32.8k. I do need to get a big workshop at the garden with, like, I don't know, I said last time, the Coca-Cola studio. Although did anyone see the Oscars on Sunday? The Oscars had, it was like filmed in a tiny little, looked like a foyer of a hotel with a tiny stage. So, the sculptor mould, that's the stuff, Red City. That's what Luke Towan uses a lot of. I use sculptor mould for the ET spaceship. Very strange stuff to work with, and it went off a lot faster than it says on the tin, if you like. Okay, right. What's the time? I haven't got a clue how we're getting on with this. Right, 36. So we're going to get on with this, okay? So this is where we're at. Let's start in this corner over here. Now I want to sparingly, so we can still see the ridges there, but not too sparingly that we still see the clay underneath. So I'm going to give it one pass first, and then we'll go for the second pass. I do like this sand, I have to say. It reminds me of the Maldives, even though I've never been there. I think I'd like to go there. Because if the sand's like this, it's going to look nice. I've got plenty in here. Look, I bought a 5 kilogram bag of this sand, and I can tell straight away I'm not going to need it all. What the hell am I supposed to do with the sand? What am I going to need white sand for? I have got the vacuum cleaner on standby, just so you know. When the light's on this, I'm sure it's going to look pretty cool. I will try and put that on afterwards. That's looking alright, isn't it? I like it a lot. I like it a lot. You know what? I could have got away with like a 1 ounce bag of sand. I do like how, where it's not sticking to some of the tops, it's actually giving really good highlights in this, which I didn't actually think that would happen. And that's worked an absolute treat. Make sandwiches with it. Yeah, can you imagine if I forget to swap out the hot chocolate? It's coffee. I've got my cappuccino. I'm one of these sad people that drink cappuccinos at all hours of the day. Obviously, I'm going to get the top done before I do the sides. I need that to be completely set so I can hold it on its side to actually just put glue on the sides. But I think we're pretty much there. I like it. I like it. That looks brilliant. Now, when I put this on, this glue, it's going to make it look like the sand's disappeared. I'm aware of that. But that's what's going to happen. When it dries, it's going to look like this. It's going to be pretty secure in place. Then I'm going to be able to brush resin onto it. So let's get this on here. I'm spraying it at a distance. The actual spray seems to be clogged up. So it was spraying before, and now it's coming out more of a jet. That's why I'm doing it at quite a distance here. Doesn't matter if we go over the top with this, as long as I don't go on the back wall. But it is like looking at sand on a beach when it's raining. It's turning that sort of colour. When I first did this, it was coming out as a spray, but I think it's actually set inside the nozzle there. So I'm going to have to work with what I've got. Doesn't matter if you go too much on this, because it's just going to soak in and eventually dry up. But I will cover the whole thing, as long as it doesn't expose too much. God, this is taking forever to turn it around. Get to the bits that I couldn't get to before. There we go. Even if it pulls in an area, it doesn't matter. I've used this with this technique with doing dioramas for the train tracks. It will eventually evaporate and it will be perfectly clear. But I want to make sure this is completely covered before I call it a day. By the way, this is Mrs. Wayne's watering can for the flowers, which I've used as well. So, you know, nicked everything in the house. Right, bit more. And I think we're pretty much done. I'm gonna just see what happens when I just tap this on the bits where there's a lot. I think that's quite a good idea, actually. Not too hard because I don't want to break the ridges. Just to soak up any excess I've got there. So those ridges I want to keep, you see, so I had no idea this would turn out so good. It looks really good. Oh dear. Well, there you go. There's an idea for making the base of a diorama here. We've got our seabed, which is looking really good. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice on top, but yeah, it's I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. We're good. So what I'll do on social media tomorrow, I'll post what this looks like dry. And then what I said, I'm going to follow exactly the same technique, but I'll be going round the sides with the sand. So I've got flat sand round the side here, here, here and here. So when I drop it in the fish tank, the only thing you're really going to see is the top here. But I will try and show you on camera here. Obviously it's going to dry a lot brighter than that, but we've got the ripple lines and everything ready to go. We've made a nice little pie. I baked you a pie. I think I'm going to leave it there. I think if I do any more, I'm just going to spoil it. So there we go. I could always add another layer of sand once it's out. I could, Chris, yeah, I could keep going. I don't know if it's going to need it. It's a learning curve for me. So what I've learned is that I didn't need 5 kilograms of sand. As a matter of fact, I probably didn't even need 100 grams of sand. So there you go. I'm reluctant to put plants in it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I don't want it to take too much away from the shark and the cage, but I am aware if you watch Jaws at the end, there is some greenery around like the rock area underneath. So I mean, I do have some plants that I can put on it, but I think that might be something to do next time. I'm more worried about how the resin's going to react. If plants have got like seaweed sort of plants, I think, Phil, you might have some that actually stick up. When the resin goes in, will it actually stay up like that, or is the resin going to pull it down? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Perhaps that's something I should do in the resin test next week. I feel really weird without my wedding ring. Hello, Daniel Goldman, how are you? But my hands are clean. The man cave's a complete mess, but I've achieved what I wanted to achieve. So we've done the seabed. So as I said, the next Jaws update we do for this going to be next week, where we're doing the resin tests, and then hopefully the resin will arrive. It said it's on a 3-week wait time. Just so you know, the resin I'm getting is from Germany, and it's costing me £95 for 12 kilograms. So I'm getting 2 lots of that, so that's going to be 24 kilograms. It's only going to be filled up to here. Now this tank will hold about 30. So I'm probably not going to use the full 24 kilograms, bearing in mind that this base is going to take up a lot of room. As Lou said, if I fill this up with clay as well, that's going to take up some volume. The shark is going to be full of resin anyway, because if I don't have resin in the shark, there's a risk of air coming out of his mouth and making bubbles, and also the risk of the shark floating, which we don't want to happen. And I think the cage will be pretty minimal, but that's the cage as well. But there we go. I can chat with you peeps now. I was so nervous before that stream, I'll tell you, because I've never done anything like this, and normally tonight's the night where things actually go wrong. But even my test piece is looking all right, so very happy with that. And I've just got to touch clay now without the gloves on. David, maybe put some large rocks covered in plants. I could do. I don't want too many rocks. It's supposed to be a seabed. I don't think it's like a coral reef. But again, as Phil Sprueverse did mention, that did make me laugh in his video. If you haven't seen it, go over to the Sprueverse channel. But calculating the distance from the top of the water and the distance from the bottom of the water, it's probably about 12 to 15 feet tall. That's one hell of a deep sea. Wow, emailed IXO. They want to charge you €29 to ship to Iceland per shipment. Wow, that's crazy, Berg. This. Funny enough, IXO, I'm going to be doing the Peugeot tomorrow. Peugeot 205, and then we'll go back to the Ghostbusters Ecto 1. Not quite sure about that spotlight today. I did break it, I'll be honest with you. When I screwed it screwed in fine. When I tightened it, the whole thing snapped in half. So I had to glue all that back together. But as a lot of people have mentioned, it's weird there's no LED or light in it. So I'm sure someone's going to mod that. But there we go. Gary, I already filled up the floats on the cage, just so you know. But I used a putty for that. So they're not hollow. Don't worry about that. So I already figured that one out. But the cage is on a wire anyway. So the that wire at the top is quite sturdy. But there you go. What did you think of that? I don't know if you like me experimenting on Tuesday nights, but it seems to be the night where everything goes wrong. So that's why I do these things. The thing is, I have got a build to do tomorrow, and I've got to tidy up still, and I've still got to do the sides. So I suppose I can do the rest in the workshop. This is something that I would normally do in the workshop, to be honest with you. But I don't get a good internet connection out there at the moment. So I am in the process of fixing that, though. I'm going to be putting a Cat 5 cable all the way out there, so we won't have that problem. Do you have any coral? I've got this, but I can't have too much because the shark and the cage take up more. So obviously I don't want any real coral because it will expel air and create air bubbles. Just so you know, when I'm filling up as well, I've got a chicken, I don't know, flavouring sort of syringe, which I'm hoping that I can gently just tap some bubbles above Hooper's head, so it looks like he's not calm and sedated. I want there to be a mess of bubbles going up above his head. Again, don't know how that works with resin, because bubbles tend to rise in resin to the top. So it might be a case of having to inject those bubbles while it's in the process of curing. Then the problem you've got there is, I guess, the shaft of the syringe is going to be visible. Don't know. So many things to think about. Chris, I was going to do that. What I'm worried about is that if I was to do that, then I'd have to drip glue down the bottom. See, I'm painting resin over the top of this. So if I was to put resin and pour resin, if I put sand in the tank and pour resin over that, I'm worried that, as Phil experienced, that the air trapped between the sand is going to create bubbles as well. And I'm worried that if the sand gets disturbed too much and it starts to float up, it won't settle. I don't know. I don't know how dense this fine sand is compared to the resin. But I got so much out of Phil's resin video, I have to say. But I mean, all of this at the moment, I don't think there's any right or wrong answers. I'm learning from scratch. I don't know anything about this, so we'll have to see. Soggy Bottom isn't a village in Yorkshire. It should be. Yeah, the clay has to dry gradually. We can't put it in the oven, otherwise it will crack. It's Dawn's birthday. Happy birthday, Dawn. No, you won't be able to see the Mr. Robo Visions. No, you won't be able to see the tower prints at all. The that glue, when it dries, is going to create quite a nice effect, I think, actually. So, pretty happy with that, actually. Matter of fact, if that was the case, if I put a very light sprinkling of sand in these areas, yeah, it's not going to make a difference. The sand's soaking it up already, so that's cool. I do like that effect. Craig, you're loving the new R2D2 Obi-Wan Kenobi. I enjoyed making it, but did you know that once again, stupid me forgot to put the microphone on? So if you haven't seen the R2D2 video, right from when the flash card comes up saying stage 1, all of that is a voiceover. It's not me talking during the live stream because I forgot the microphone. For that reason, that's why I put that backing track on with the music in the background. But a lot of people tend to like that, so I might keep that for the build. It was a happy accident. But yeah, so for the whole build, where you're not seeing my face, it's all voiceover. So the Ecto 1 stickers, don't get me started on that. When we come to that episode, we'll talk about that. I know that Eagle must have acknowledged it. They've acknowledged it on the customer service site. What's going to happen to that, I don't know. So there's a large amount of videos about some sort of vacuum cleaner to remove any chance of air pockets forming. I don't mind some air pockets, but I'm trying to reduce them as much as I can before I put them in. So we will have to see. I think I just did Mrs. World Wayne, but I am behind on chat, aren't I? So gonna do a scene for dinosaur. Any suggestions? Get lots of ferns, lots of model ferns. The plants make it, definitely. Ferns and rocks. That was a good Blue Peter moment. Yeah, I wish I could have said here's what I made earlier, but that didn't happen, did you? Turkey baster. Why are we talking about turkey? It's a chicken baster. It's not like a turkey baster. It's like a tiny shringe, not like a great big thing. Small glass beads. See, there's an idea in it, Phil. Wow. I didn't think about that. Will they sink, though? Or would you have to, like, pour the resin, gently put one in and pour the resin over the top? Or create a whole mess of beads already pre-done and glued together that you could put in? I don't know. That's a great idea, though. See, these are the things, Phil, that are going to give me sleepless nights again, because I'm going to be wrapping it around my brain thinking, how can this look? A long hypodermic syringe. Well, I've got someone in the medical industry and we were looking at syringes, but I think the longest I can get is about that big, and I need like that big. No, there's going to be no body parts around. People are asking, why has Jaws got a red mouth if he's not, if he hasn't eaten anyone yet? It's because if you remember, before he gets down to Hooper, he was eating all the chum that Chief Brody was fishing into the water. That's why he was covered in red crap. Maybe make a separate mix of sand with resin, let that set for 15 minutes and add the next layer of resin. That could work as well, actually. Didn't even think about that. I could probably paint that on the side sim floor, actually, thinking about it, rather than do it the way I was going to do it. I like that idea. I very much like that idea. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Because I want to be able to drop this into the tank before the resin pour. But that's got to be encased in resin. Nothing on the Hogwarts Express, David. I don't know if they've gone ahead with the trial or not, so... Nothing toxic. You don't want to kill the shark. Gary, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm only putting the glue on just to keep that in place. Then I'm going to be painting over the top with resin. So that's all going to be encased in resin. Why don't you just put a fish in the tank? Oh, bless. Get Lou to make a set of vinyls. What's that? Vinyls for the tank. I want a Jaws logo. I think I was talking to Phil. If this much of the tank is going to be painted black, so it's going to be like a black border, I want Jaws at the top there, you see? So I could stick it on or something. That's the idea. But are you gonna? That's what I was talking about, the bubbles, David. I'm hopefully gonna have bubbles from the regulator. So you have a 200mm syringe. Why would you have? Well, I suppose with a dentist, you need to be able to get. You can't get. You're going to be at that sort of angle, aren't you? 200mm syringe. Well, that could work. That could work. I've got a sister-in-law who's a nurse, so she can get syringes. I just didn't aware that they come that size. But thinking about it, obviously with the dentist, they can't get that far in, so they need a long syringe to get that extra distance, don't they? Stick some of the beads together like balloons. They'd have to be different sizes. They couldn't all be the same size. It'd have to be a whole modge podge of different size glass. I'm going to have to eBay it, aren't I? I'm going to have a look around and see if we can get that. Mrs. Welder Wayne could make a sticker with her cricut. She ain't got a Cricut. She wanted one, but she got a sewing machine in the end. Great pressure. I mean, I don't mind if it would have cocked up tonight and it didn't go as good as it did. Then it's a learning curve, isn't it? That's the whole point of these channels. I'm learning new stuff every night. But oh, Lou can make the vinyls to replace the No Ghost logos on the Ecto. I think Ian at Partwork Upgrades is looking. To be honest with you, Gary, I've got it here, but I haven't opened it, so I haven't seen the sticker myself. But I will be applying it to see what it's like. So, oh, it's used for acid etch. Ah, they do exist. That's Little Shop of Horror. Oh, I'm glad you read. We were talking about that the other day. How we need that back in the West End again. I love Little Shop of Horrors. Should I put a little Audrey in there? There's got to be some sort of obviously we've got the rod that I'm putting at the bottom. That's going to be in the sand eventually when the resin's on top. But perhaps there should be some other little Easter eggs that I should put in there. I don't know. Perhaps a little Sebastian lobster from Disney's Little Mermaid or something. But it's all cool. Listen, I really do hope you like that stream tonight. I said it was a learning curve for me and I've got so much tidying up to do. But, you know, it is what it is. And hopefully we're all going to be clean and ready for tomorrow's stream, which is going to be the Peugeot 205. For your Patreons, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing tomorrow. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be the X-Wing. The DC3 is still dried. I haven't actually touched that since last Wednesday's stream. But we'll see what happens then. But listen, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope it's been informative. It's certainly been emotional, that's for sure. Now spit. Anyway, listen, take care, everybody. See you later.